Hello, Burnsville Psych. Today we're going to be talking about classical conditioning. We're going to do a quick review and go through a couple of examples, and then we'll move on. At this point, if you do not have the notes that are listed here, you should definitely pause this video, jot down these notes when we get to the unit test. The essay part, the free response part of the test is going to look very much like what we're doing today, so this would be a good video to review. Big picture, when we're talking about classical conditioning, we are talking about learning that happens through association, and association is the key piece here. Generally, when we're talking about association, we are talking about a connection that is made between the unconditioned stimulus and the conditioned stimulus. So in class, we did the activity with lemonade, and we paired the lemonade, which is the unconditioned stimulus, with the bell, which starts neutral and then becomes the conditioned stimulus. After a while, if we did enough trials, we would have the same response that we have for the lemonade now from the bell. So let's go through a couple of these examples. We'll work our way through them and talk about how these might play out. First example says, mother of a kid who slams the door every morning and is ready to leave for school. The mom begins to flinch at her son's words when he says, "Bye, Mom." So what I'll do is give you a second to pause, and you should give it your best shot trying to identify what is the unconditioned stimulus and the unconditioned response, and then identify the neutral stimulus, which becomes the conditioned stimulus, and then finally, what is the conditioned response? So pause now, jot those down. What you should be finding here, and frankly, I like to start with the unconditioned response. For some reason, in my brain, the response makes more sense to start with. So I would say that the flinch says down here that she flinches when he says, "Bye, Mom." The flinch is the behavior that we're going to see will come back again. So the question then is, what is causing the flinch? When we talk about the unconditioned stimulus, we are talking about what is making her flinch that is not trained or learned. Unconditioned means unlearned. So what is causing the flinch that is unlearned? It will be the loud noise from the door slam. Any one of us, if we were in a situation where somebody was slamming the door, you're going to jump or flinch or have a very small startle response. That's unlearned and does not need any training at all. What is added into this situation? What is neutral that becomes conditioned because it's paired with that loud noise every time? It's the son's voice when he says, "Bye, Mom." Now when she hears him say those words, that is the thing that she associates with the loud noise from the door slam. So now she flinches when her son says, "Bye, Mom." If this is making sense and you're feeling solid about these examples, you're going to be very prepared for what we do on the writing on the unit test. You're going to have a little story like this one here about the socket and the fork, and then you're going to have to not only define these terms, going back to these definitions, but then you're going to have to diagram the situation just like we've been doing now. So look at this example and then pause it and do it yourself to see if it checks out. At the age of 3, you had a shocking experience when you pushed a fork into an electric wall socket. Mom said that for 2 years after the incident, you would only eat with a spoon. When anyone handed you a fork, you became frightened and screamed. So when we're thinking about the response, you should be hearing loud and clear a fear response. Okay, in our situation, it says a couple of times that, well, it says down here, you're frightened and screamed. You can imagine if you did this and there was a spark as a child or even as an adult, that might kind of scare you. You'd have a startle. So the response is fear. So the question then is, if we're talking about the unconditioned stimulus, what is it that is unlearned or untrained that provokes this fear response? And the answer should be electrical shock. When we have an electrical shock or there's sparks or whatever would happen by sticking a fork. By the way, don't put a fork in the outlet. When you have that happen to you, it would be a fear-inducing event. The thing that is neutral that then gets associated with this situation is the next part that we have to figure out. And in this case, it is a fork. Originally, the fork doesn't cause any trouble, but after it gets paired with the electrical shock, now the fork is a fear-inducing item. All right, last, one final example here. And again, pause it and do it yourself, and then come on back and see if we got it right. You have a friend who keeps the temperature in their home so high that each time you visit, you find yourself perspiring. The last time you visited, you noticed you began to perspire and became uncomfortable even before you reached the house. So I go right to what is the response, or what is the reaction that we have to the stimulus. And in this case, it is perspiration. And if we kind of follow the same format we've been following all along, it should be the same unconditioned response as conditioned response. Okay, generally it's the same. What changes is the stimulus. So at first, the thing that is making you perspire, it says, is the temperature in their home is so high. So anybody surprised that high temperature is going to make you perspire? No, that is unlearned, untrained, very natural response to high temperatures. The second piece is what is associated with this high temperature and what becomes conditioned. And down at the bottom it hints around, and I guess we could talk about what you think the answer is, but it should be something about the site of the house or the thought of your friend, something that started neutral and became conditioned because it was, again, connected to the unconditioned stimulus, which in this case is the high temperature. For me, every time I go to my grandma's house, she has the heat on way too high, and I don't know that I'm conditioned to start sweating when I see Nana, but that's the idea. By the way, if you're in Milinovich's class and you're watching this video, I will give you an extra point tomorrow if you can tell me what this movie is with the guy sweating here. If you can tell me the name of the movie that's in this picture, I will give you 5 extra points tomorrow. Don't tell your friends, because that will just lower the value of the extra credit. That's all we have for today. Oops. If you're able to do the work that we're doing on here and this is making sense and you're feeling comfortable, the test should be a piece of cake. If you have questions, bring them with tomorrow and we will start with this. That's it. Thanks.